This video will review how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide fractions or any mixed number. We're going to start off by adding fractions with like denominators, okay? Remember, denominators on the bottom. So if we're adding a fraction that has the same denominator, it's easy as pie. So we're just going to look at our numerators, 2 and 3. And what you do is just simply add them up. 2 plus 3 is 5. Do we add up our denominators is the question. Do we put 5 plus 5, 10 here? No. Carry the 5 over. We never change our denominator. Stays the same. Okay, we have 5 over 5, which hopefully we never leave it as 5 over 5 because that simplifies to 1 over 1, which is the same thing as 1. Done. Very simple. Same thing down here. We have same denominator, okay? If you want to pop that into your new fraction right away, you know that he does not change. He just slides right on over. And then we add our numerators. 1 and 5 gives us 6. And we have 6 over 2. Now, do not leave it as 6 over 2. That is an improper fraction. We never want improper fractions as our final answer. If we simplify it and we divide 2 into 6, we understand we get 3. Now, if we have unlike denominators, let's look at this first example. 3 and 2, unlike, you cannot add them until they are like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this and rewrite this vertically, okay? This way, I'll be able to get my like denominators a little bit neater. Okay, next, in order to add these properly, you have to find the least common multiple, or really any multiple that both 3 and 2 have in common. What are multiples? Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so forth. Multiples of 2? 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. We can see that 6 is our common multiple, so that is what we're going to use. Okay, if we set up our new fraction now with that multiple as our new denominator, we're almost done. Let's look at this 3 here. Okay, in order to find this number up here, we need to ask ourselves, how do we get from 3 to 6? Well, we can multiply by 2. Same thing down here. How do we get from 2 to 6? Well, 2 times 3 would give us 6. Okay, so whatever we did to the bottom here, we have to do the same thing to this number up top, times 2. Whatever we did to this 2 down here, we have to also do to the 1, times 3. Okay. Now, we can finish our fraction. This would be 4, and this would be 1 times 3, which is 3. Now that that's done, we can finish off the problem. Let's add both numerators. 4 plus 3 gives us 7.
Sorry, I didn't.
Siri thinks I'm talking to her. And then finally, we have 6 and 6. Do we add them together? No. Leave it as 6, okay? Now, before we can circle 7, 6, we have to remember that 7, 6 is not simplified. Now it is, okay? Don't forget. Convert any improper fraction to a mixed number if needed, okay? Okay, same thing with this problem, okay? We want to write it vertically so that we can set up our equivalent fractions neatly next to it, okay? Now, we don't have to list it out like we did up here, our multiples. We can do it in our head because we're so smart. We know that 5 and 4, common multiple of 5 and 4, well, we can multiply 5 and 4 and get 20, which is Very quick way to find a common multiple. And in this case, it happens to be the least common, which is even better. Now, ask ourselves, how do we get from one denominator to the other one? Here we multiply times 4, and down here we would multiply times 5. Okay. Same thing that we did on the bottom to the top on both fractions. This allows us to get 12 over here and 5 as our numerator in this fraction. And then we add. 12 plus 5 is 17. 20 plus 20, do we do that? Nope. We just write 20. We do not want to add those. And then we check to see if this is simplified. Is it? Yes, because 17 is a prime number and it has no other factors other than 1 and 17. So, we're done. Subtracting with like denominators is very similar to adding like, but we're subtracting. So in this case, all we do, make sure their denominators are like, which they are. The same, do not subtract. That's an ugly 5. Woo. Do not subtract 5 from 5. Leave it a 5. Carries over into our answer. But we do want to subtract 3 and 2 to give us 1. And our answer is 1/5. Simple. Over here we have a lovely mixed number minus a fraction. Right away, if you do not like this mixed number, you can change him to 7/4. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. You don't have to. I'm going to do it both ways. Okay. If I stick with the original problem, I'm going to leave off this 1 until I'm done. And I'm just going to look at both fractions, 3/4 and 2/4. I'm going to leave my denominator the same when I subtract, and I subtract 3 minus 2, which is 1. I can't leave that as my answer because I can't forget about Mr. Whole Number 1. So I throw him in my answer, and now I'm done. If you do not like mixed numbers and you want to convert and get rid of him in the beginning, you can do that. Drop him down and subtract as you normally would. Remember, the 4 stays a 4, and we subtract our numerators, and we get 5/4, which in turn is the same thing as what we got before, 1 and 1/4. So either way, whatever works for you. Unlike denominators. In this case, we have a 5 and a 4. Unlike. We do not like unlike, so we're going to make them like. First things first, rewrite your fractions vertically, okay, on top of each other, because this allows us space to set up an equivalent fraction. Okay. We need to get like denominators. How do we do that? We need to find a common multiple of 5 and of 4. What is the common multiple? Essentially, least common is what we want of 5 and 4. 20. Good job. Remember, you can always multiply 5 times 4 and get a common multiple. Ask yourself, how do we get 20 from 5? Multiply by 4. So you're going to do the same thing on top. How did we get from 4 to 20? Well, we multiplied by 5. So you do the same thing up here. Okay? And then we can write our final numerators, which will complete our fractions. 12 over 20, and here 10 over 20. Remember, we are, subtracting, okay? Because they're like denominators, now it's easy. Just subtract 12 minus 10. And I get 2/20. Is this my final answer? Nope. I need to simplify. 2/20, divide top and bottom by 2 to simplify to 1/10. There we go. Another example down here. Like I said before, rewrite on top of each other. 3/6 minus 1/3. So we can have room for our equivalent fractions again. Ask yourself, what is the common multiple of 6 and 3? 6? I like 6. Keep it nice and easy. The lower the better. You can use 18 as well. This is one of the cases where if you multiply 6 times 3, you can get common multiple of 18 and put 18 here, but it will not be the least common. Personally, I like dealing with lower numbers when doing any math, but it's up to you. Now here we ask ourselves, 6 times what is 6? 1. So we multiply by 1 at the top. Here, 3 times what is 6? 2. So we multiply 1 times 2, and we get our new numerators. And we finish our problem by subtracting, okay? 3 minus 2 is 1. Denominator stays a 6 because we worked so hard to get that. Let's keep them. And circle because I know that's simplified. All finished.